In Azie Faison's most recent interview with Sean Cotton at Say Cheese, Sean Cotton asked AZ how he felt when social media personalities like myself and others take shots or throw jabs at him, being that he seemed like a very generous guy, in the host's words. Personally speaking, I can assure you that I am doing no such thing. I am simply seeking the truth as opposed to taking him at his word, as his stories continuously change over time. There are consistent inconsistencies in his stories and nobody talks about that. Everyone just offers praise and takes him at his word. Nevertheless, AZ's answer, in my opinion, was just as insincere as he felt Alpo's was the night he asked him if he'd intended to kill him after he'd done that to Rich. It is my unprofessional diagnosis that Azie Faison suffers from victim's mentality, which is a psychological mind state where someone feels like a victim in various situations, even though the evidence suggests otherwise. People with victim's mentality may blame others for their problems, feel sorry for themselves, feel defensive or hypervigilant around others, or reminisce over past events and negative feelings. Can you spot the red flags? Let's take a look.
But at the end of the day, these niggas was creeps to do some shit like that. So therefore, oh, you with that? You that type of nigga, huh? You would do some shit like that, huh? So you was a sucker. So I don't have no respect for you, point blank period. When I see you taking that type of stand, nobody should have no respect for you. Because God knows I didn't deserve that, and none of those people deserved that.
I guess the girl was 13 years old or some shit.
Okay.
I don't know.
I did not know her age at the time. You saw this girl, she don't look like she's 13.
I know you see a lot of things online, on the internet, people doing interviews, shooting jabs at subliminals, shooting jabs at you. How does that make you feel? Because it seems like you were a very unselfish guy.
When I see that, being honest, I laugh because it just, to me, it sounds like jealous behavior, right? Because I can look at either one of these dudes or any man on the fucking planet and ask them to their face with open arms, whatever I have done to you, what have I done to you? And I guarantee you they'd be like, honestly, nothing. So the question becomes, why are you doing this to me? I never did nothing to none of these niggas. Never. But try to put money in their pocket. So I don't understand where that should be coming from. Being honest.
All right, peace. You already know where you at and who you rocking with, right? Yeah. So let's get into it then. I ain't gonna keep y'all long. I ain't gonna keep you long. But check this out, man. When I hear that type of thing, it reminds me of jealous and hateful behavior, because, you know, I can look at any man on this earth with arms wide open and say, what have I did to you? And I guarantee you the answer is going to be nothing. So the real question becomes, why you doing this to me? Because I never did nothing to nobody. Not none of them. All of them hate me. And I was just nice to everybody and gave them money and tried to help them feed their families. Man, that's BS, dog. That is the most insincere BS I've ever heard in my life. You ain't never heard nobody in your life, huh, AZ? Huh? You ain't never did nothing. Can anybody else see them red flags, man? He has a victim's mentality, man. He likes to feel sorry for himself. He likes to blame others for his own problems. He's created a psychological psyche in his head that in every situation, he's the victim, even when evidence suggests otherwise. Wow, man. Listen, man, I got a comment on my YouTube, right? I've been recently putting up flashbacks of my Michelle Carvalho interview, right? She's the original writer in Paid in Full. She also has a daughter with AZ. Yesterday, somebody put a comment in my shit excuse my language, in my video that says you can't take anything at face value, period. I don't know if y'all can see that. You can't take anything at face value, period, is what it said. I said, explain that. He said, we can't prove things people say to be right and exact, especially when we weren't there. I told him facts, but it's not hard for y'all to believe AZ made $50,000 a day, right? You feel me? It's not hard for you to believe he's never hurt anyone in his entire life and all he tried to do is help people get money. No, nobody says you can't believe none of that. You can't take that on face value, right? But when a woman speaks her truth about her situation and what was going on with her and him in that time, we can't take anything on face value. Why? Because they're not praising the outlandish stories that he's telling about selling drugs and women and cars and money. That's all you dudes are praise, right? So since he got this real victim's mentality, you feel me? I thought that I would show y'all a real victim and let y'all hear about some of the stuff that he, the man that ain't never hurt nobody, right, put this woman through, man. Let's take a look.
I ended up in the hospital at that time, like 2 weeks, because they had to drain the blood from the back of my eye. They told me that if I had got to the hospital an hour later, I would have been seeing like infrared out my right eye for the rest of my life. He punched me in my eye, full speed. I mean, if you think of weight, he must have hit me with a 40 weights in my right eye. After antagonizing me and bullying me for about 20 minutes, asking me did I go out to eat with some guy. That's a long story. It's too long for me to do it here. But hopefully I get to write about it one day. And this, when he hit me, this is the thing with abusers. It gets more and more dangerous. More and more. Like the hits get harder. You know, the abuse gets more dangerous and severe. I'm very, very lucky. He hit me in my eye so hard that it felt like I had swallowed my eye in this situation. It was terrible, and the streak that came out of my throat from that hit was so bad. His mother, like his mother apartment was very long. She had these long hallways. If you could imagine hallways so long that you could fit 4 bedrooms and a kitchen in between it before you got to her room. That's how long it was. She was a little overweight and had some knee problems, but she actually came down the hall that day. That night, she was like, I don't know what you doing to that girl, but y'all you gotta stop, Junior. You know, she was very upset that night. That was a night, you know, I tried to jump out the window over there. I couldn't get away from him. And I got locked in that room for 2 more days with my eye in complete pain in the dark till he finally decided to take me to the hospital. I was telling him I can't see. I'm telling you, I can't see. It was fucking horrible. It's like even talking about it. It was horrible.
How many times were you held hostage by AZ?
Too many to name, but how many times I was held hostage and ended up physically beat? If I had to count them, I don't know, like 20.
See, in the statement that you wrote on the channel, you said that he had held women hostage, including a woman you know or something like that. I'm not gonna get into that because I don't wholeheartedly remember the comment. But that's what, and you just said that he held you in the dark for 2 days after he hit you like that, and then decided to take you to the hospital. That's what prompted me to ask you, how many times had situations like this happened? 21 is too many, but 20. Wow.
How many times at this bad? Yeah. Well, at this magnitude, at this level, all right, when I was ejected through the window shield, right? Was in the coma for 3 days. That happened July 31st, 1991, I believe, 92. 91, because I was pregnant in 92. All right, so when I was ejected through the window shield, another time when he threw me down a flight of stairs outside of a brownstone, another time I got away from him, but tried to go back to the house to get clothes, and he caught me out there. Horrible. You don't even want to know. Stomped me out, everything outside there. The time that I just talked about with my eye, and maybe 2 other times that it was that high tense and drastic, like me running in the street on the highway, jumping out the car, different things like that. A lot of the friction was because I used to try to get away. I used to try to get away, and this man had some type of dominant power over like people, you know, like people was afraid to hide me. People would tell him where I was. People wouldn't do enough to try to get in the way. Like the times he came and snatched me. My grandmother lived on the 1st floor, so we lived in a brownstone. And in the summertime, we would sit out there. And one of the things with abusers is now I understand why, though. They don't have any respect for your personal time. Time you might need to heal, time you might need to recollect. They don't allow that kind of space, because that kind of space would give the person who is being abused insight, time to really think about it and possibly get away, possibly, you know, get on the phone with the police and set up some type of boundaries and barricades to keep this person away. So people who abuse other people are so desperate that they cannot allow any time to lapse between the time they beat the shit out of you and they can't find you, right? So this is what he used to do. He would smother me. He would smother me. The time is one story that I had planned to share. I won't get to it yet, but that's what I want to say. A lot of times women who come out of abusive homes like I came out of take this aggressive what the fuck do you call this aggressive stalking and smothering, and I love you and I want to know where you at. They take that as love. That is not love.